Well, hello there and welcome to the Black Lodge. I am David at Drinks Whisky, and it is a pleasure to welcome you into this, no the VPub, but kind of the VPub this evening. Roy Aquavitae has very kindly and very trustingly placed the VPubs into my hand this evening while he is off on his holidays. So hopefully he's enjoying himself and he's relaxing. Sorry for the delay, guys. For some reason, a bit of Black Lodge gremlins the last few live streams. My camera decided to just no work. Literally, it was about to hit go live. But if you're a regular viewer to Saturday Night Drams, then you would know that there's always something. There's always something going on. But that aside, welcome. If you're new here, I am David at Drinks Whisky. What we do here is normally on a Saturday Night Drams, there'll be a topic, a theme, but it's quite easy going. There's a lot of cross-pollination between the VPub viewers and the Saturday Night Drams viewers, so I'll know quite a lot of these. New folks, say hello in the chat. Great to have yous all in. Regulars I've already seen. The chat's been going for a good while, so try to catch up with it. As I've been trying to set up is something in itself. But I saw a few of the regulars who can't make it tonight because they're going to watch the Masters instead. Shame on you. Shame. Joke.
Shame.
But this evening,
shame,
I do have an agenda of sorts because we've got a lot to get through. Quite a bit. But before that, how you guys all doing? How's everybody been? What's in your glass? What dram have you got? I kicked off. Normally I go for a wee palate cleansing Glenmorangie 12. Tried it. I wasn't quite tickling it, and I don't know if I'm coming down with something, or if it's just it wasn't quite landing because it's been open for a while. Not sure. So I went to the bottle you can see behind me there, which is the Living Souls Ballandalic, which is just cracking. So I have that on the go. Get to the chat and see who's in. Who have we got going? I can see Petehead's in. Amy's in. Hi Amy, she's saying hello to Petehead. What else we got? There's a lot going on. Movement. Jesper, welcome mate. Jimmy Jazz. Saying hello to Derek. Derek's in. DVDW. I don't recognise that name, but welcome mate. Welcome to have you. There's Derek, great to have you in mate. Thomas is in. Billy Bennett's in. Evening Jimmy Jazz. Whisky with Molly, brilliant to have you here. Tons of these man, tons. This is brilliant. I'm so glad you could join me. Evening James, good to have you. PX, always a pleasure. God, there's loads and loads, aren't they? Right. Jim's in, Whisky Novice. Can see Donna Pass. I don't know. I tell you what, Roy makes this look easy, doesn't he? See the amount of the way the chat's going. Saturday Night Drams, much more low key affair, much quieter, much more fun in terms of not having to have all these screens on the go because I'm having to. It's like flying a plane tonight. But aye, bit of housekeeping from my side. Big shout out to the guys that help make a lot of the stuff possible. Patreons over at patreon.com, Drinks Whisky. They get behind the scenes, they get a much more raw approach to the stuff, they get updates on when stuff's going live, first looks, all the usual stuff. Just always a massive shout out to them because a few of them were the ones that made me get the Patreon. They really wanted support, so I always like to make sure they get a big shout out. So, guys, tell me, I've not seen it, the chat's gone that quick. What is in the glass? what have you got in the glass this evening? And have you come prepped? Have you done your homework? Because I know for a fact some of the names in here have whiskey confessions to make. Now, to give you a bit of context around that, my head kind of goes all over the place a lot of the times. I don't like doing stuff the easy way, as you might have guessed. And I did have a topic. I had a topic that was really front of mind. I've been wanting to do for a while, and I started doing the research for it. And I started going, aye, this would be good, this is good. And as I did more and more research, I thought, no, this is too big and too serious a topic for this evening. So I'm going to make that a separate video to tease that. There's nothing worse than when somebody just is very obtuse and blank and not telling you what it is. But the night's theme it came to me as things do. And I explained it to my wife, and my wife looked at me and she's like, this seems really off on a tangent. So what I thought is I would pass to my past self who made that decision to try and explain it.
Oh, aye, no worries, David. I'll pick it up for here. James Hogg, born 1770, Scottish, shepherd, works his way up, does well for himself, becomes a writer, poet. But off the back of that, he starts hanging out with the likes of Walter Scott, and quite a lot of literary circles in Edinburgh, but he never quite fits in. And then in 1824, he publishes the private memoirs and confessions of a justified sinner, anonymously. Doesn't put his name to it. The reason for that is, even to this day, it's considered one of the most kind of psychologically unsettling kind of pieces of Scottish literature ever. Why was it put under no name, and why was that? Well, at the time, Scotland's history with the Reformation and stuff, there's a hardline Calvinist movement that he plays on in the book, and it's along this idea of the elect, which is God selects the damned and the blessed before you're even born, and this predestination, this whatever you want to call it, having that on you means the theory is, well, in fact, if you're elect, then you can do whatever you want, and there's no issue. You'll go to heaven or you go to hell because you're already selected. And so he plays on that idea of, well, if you're justified and you can do what you like, how far can you go? And weirdly, this is a book that made me think about whiskey sins and justified drinkers, not a justified sinner, but the little justifications we tell ourselves about certain whiskey types or certain whiskey habits or behaviour. And so, hence the title, The Confessions of a Justified Drinker. Clear as mud? Get pretty? Aye, a wee bit too highbrow for me than usual. But on that note, that day, back to your night, Thursday Night Drams. David, how you go? I need to keep walking.
Cheers, David. Talking in the third person. Weird as hell. So that was the idea behind it. I thought I'd explain it that way rather than just talk at you. That's the book, if you can see it. Private Memoirs and Confessions of a Justified Sinner. And it's great. If you've not read it, it's definitely worth a read. It kind of get rediscovered in the 20th century. But it's... I just like the name of it. Confessions of a Justified Singer. And I thought, Confessions of a Justified Drinker. We all tell tales about whiskey. And there's some whiskies that the crowd love. And some of us don't. There's some whiskies that we shouldn't love. And we do. There are glassware decisions. There are mixing decisions. There are all these things that in a collective it's kind of preached upon. Don't do that. Don't do this. But the reality is we do. And so I thought, what better way? Like getting the community together, like having a bit of a laugh, talking about what confessions, what sins do you make in the whiskey world? It could be when you've got a pal or that wants to get into whiskey and you hit them with a 60% cask strength number, some Octomore or something like that. Or is it you ply them with you show them the good stuff, and you give them the high commissioner. Let me know in the comments, guys. Let us know in the chat. That's the general theme for this evening. And I thought I've seen a few comments about what's in the glasses and that, and I'll come to that in a minute. But I've seen one keep popping up from Petehead regarding let me find the comment. The important question: are the horses alive tonight? And they were, Frank. They were. The horses were alive for tonight, and I don't know what's happened. I think it's maybe the manufacturer. Unfortunately, and it was set up. It was all set up, ready to go, and I'll show you. I can show you guys this. For anybody new to the channel, what we're talking about is horses. The horses. We do horse racing to pick drams. And they're not working the night. Lane 1, completely dead. Horse doesn't move. So I've removed that horse. Lane 2, 3, 4, 5, barely move. And so 6 wins every time. Every time. And we can't have that. We can't have that. So it's kind of put a kibosh. So I'm going to have to we're going to have to crowdsource this evening. Let me just fix the camera. We're going to have to crowdsource this evening tonight's drams. So I thought, what better way to kick off the confessions and tell you my Whisky Sin, well, one of them, which is, you might see behind me, I have a lot of bottles. And I have a lot of bottles that I buy with the intention of doing something with it, which might be making a video, or it might be sharing with someone. But predominantly it's a special occasion. I'll save that for something special. I'll save it for something special. There's not enough special occasions to open them, and so they never get opened. And an occasion will come round and I think, oh, I know this one. Maybe I'll wait for the next one. So tonight, my dram selection as well, for regular viewers, I always have a dram selection, and the horses help choose it, or the chat helps choose it. Tonight's dram selection is based on my Whisky Sin. So these are all bottles that are unopened. Not one of these has been opened, and they've all been bought with a purpose in mind, or they've all been bought with an intention that's not quite happened. And so the first one that's up is a key one. This was a batch before it was officially released. So this was one of 300 bottles, 150 cask strength. I picked up at auction. And again, I was intending to make a video or something with it, but it sat there for a long time. Number 2 is a barrel select from Hedonism Wines in London of Antique 107 Weller that I've waited a long time to open, and I've been badgered. There's regular viewers that have badgered me on Saturday Night Drams to get them opened, and I've always, I'm waiting, because I was waiting for the, if you know your bourbon, the Weller CYPB. I wanted a bottle of Weller CYPB, which is a white label, for the OCD-ness in me to complete my Weller collection of sorts, and then I was going to get them cracked open. Then I have this Benrinnes. You might have seen from my t-shirt this evening that I'm a big fan of Benrinnes. Like, it's so good, they named a mountain after it. But this bottle is from, I think it says on the side here, 2021. And I've just never got around to opening it. So I'm like, right, we need to get that opened. I've got a Cadenheads, or Cadenheads. Let me know in the chat how you pronounce it yourself. Either way, you're wrong. Springbank Distillery, aged 11 years. 11-year-old Springbank, 46%. Again, it's sat. What am I waiting? Like, why am I waiting? What's waiting? I've got my red spot. So I've got my Infinity Stone red spot, my spots. I've got them all, bar the numerous greens that appear and the latest gold. I've got the first gold. I love the blue spot. I got stung with the red spot one time. I was in Dingo and I bought a dram because I'd messaged some mates, said I'll get the red spot, and it was €28. So I think there's a bit of PTSD there for not cracking that opened. Then this fine chap, not James Hogg, but the Sanderbud. I picked this up at auction ages ago. Again, the intention of a blend video. And this is High Coast and Ardnamurchan blended. Never had it. Really intrigued to see how that goes. And then behind all these, you might be able to see what that is. That's a bottle of... Maybe. There we go. Dimple 15 I picked up at auction, God knows when, for that blend video that's never happened. And so that's sitting as well. So those, for the intentions of the horses and all that, that's what was going to happen. And my Whisky Sin is I had too many bottles I don't own that I really want to get into. But before we decide on that, I figured we may as well get in amongst it. And I'm seeing people in the comments already. James saying, nice to see a Weller antique. Yep. And I know there's so much chat I need to catch up on, but I will get a chance. Serge Hunter, how you going, mate? Good to have you in. Yep, hefty Weller. I picked it up, mate. I went and bought it in the shop. People said it was there, and I went and got it. I was so excited, and I put it in the cupboard. That's my... I need to light that up. I don't know why the light's on, but that's my bourbon cupboard. That's my American whiskey cupboard. And I've got a full proof in there as well, and I've got a Weller 12 and whatever, but it just sat for too long. And a solid Benrinnes. I love Benrinnes, man. You can see. So attractive, isn't it? But that Benrinnes has got to be there. I feel like if I'm going to put this to a vote, and I agree, too expensive in the rest, but Amy's saying the Sanabud, done a pass 2 years ago. Had a bunch of open bottles that were open for birthdays or holidays. And people I know, my estate, passed them away and I opened them all to try. Exactly. You might be keeping them for tomorrow, but you never know. As Ronan Keaton says, if tomorrow never comes, what are we supposed to do? So it's more a case of getting into it. Just picked up a bottle of Sanctuary 100 proof Benrinnes. Might have to get that. Oh, the 100 proof Benrinnes was that close to being my whiskey of the year a couple of years back, and it was pipped at the post only because I'd only got it in November. It was sensational. Kubokin 15 won that year for me, but phenomenal whiskey. And my wife got me for my birthday a bottle of Benrinnes from Old Particular for Douglas Lang, so I'm well known in my love for it. Kel saying he got hooked on Blue Spot at Dublin Airport. It's now up to €70, but if you fly for Christmas, €70 Blue Spot, still a bargain. Blue Spot's phenomenal, in my opinion. It's my favourite. It's my absolute favourite. All unopened. Well, I know. So it's more like getting amongst it. Adrian, pleasure to have you in, mate. Hope you're keeping well. Peter saying, aye, neck pour. It will be neck pour. It's not about the tasting to say, you know me. It's not a review. We'll play it by ear and we'll see how it goes. And Whiskey Molly's just pouring the latest Glasgow. Brilliant. That white pot one. Right, I'm still got a million bits of chat to get through, guys. Bear with me as I navigate the madness that is the VPub crowd. These are all great, but let's hear from people a bit more interested than myself. I think we'll kick off with the usual custodian of the VPub and a couple others to tell you about their whiskey confessions.
My whiskey confession is a lack of discipline, specifically a lack of discipline when it comes to samples. I'm very, very disorganised, and because I'm opening so many new bottles and full bottles, it means that samples can often get ignored. And that's not cool, because these samples are a measure of the amazing generosity and that spirit of sharing that we have in the community. I know I need to spend a bit more time just sitting down of an evening and relaxing with samples instead of all these shiny new full bottles. So there's more work to be done on my part. But there you have it. A lack of organisation, a lack of discipline, and a lack of attention to all these amazing samples that I have. Must try harder.
My whiskey confession is, although I love Scotch, I can bottle Scotch and I love Scotch, the most whiskey that I actually drink is a soupy Tennessee sour mash with Coca-Cola.
My whiskey confession is if I don't like a drink, I pour it down the sink. That can be a whiskey in a cocktail, that could be a sample that I've bought. If I don't like it, I just get rid of it. Life's too short to be drinking bad drinks. However, if it's a full bottle or a larger bottle, I give it to somebody else. Maybe they'll like it.
3 confessions from 3 noted drinkers. Roy, Rachel and JJ, a massive thank you for your contributions. It's much appreciated. Questions over to you guys in the chat. Right, how do we feel about those confession sins? Do we relate to some of them? I think Roy, I would imagine, especially this community, a lot of samples get flung about. I'm kind of out the sample game at the moment myself, because I get sent them and I never get around to them, and then they get sat for a long time. When I was digging stuff out for this tonight, I found a box of like old whiskey samples that the sample guys did a tasting for, and I couldn't make the tasting. I think it was New Year. Couldn't make the tasting, and I was raging. So I've got this box. They're all in glass, thankfully, no plastic, but of these really old, rare, not super aged, but just really interesting whiskey. And I'm kind of looking at it and I thought, maybe I'll bring those tonight, but it's... You just end up with too many of them, don't you? So I think we have an issue like that in the community. I think Rachel's point, she might work in whiskey and love whiskey, but our go-to drink is a certain JD and Coke, one we presume with that Tennessee mention. And there's nothing wrong with that, is there, at all? Or is there? Because we can be a wee bit snobby at times, can't we? We're a wee bit on the fence. And then JJ, Whiskey Amateur, if you don't know me, doesn't do YouTube as much, but Instagram and TikTok. He's big on the old TikTok-y, and he's been featured in a few things. Great guy. And I think that one about that, he just gets rid of it, just pours it away. I've got a bottle of Japanese whiskey that's the worst thing I've ever had in my life. Tastes like diesel, and I've still got the bottle, but that's kind of because I want to inflict pain on others with it as well, to see if it's the same. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you agree with what they're saying? Do you have similar points of view on it? It's an interesting topic, and we've got some more of these to come this evening that I'm excited to share, because some of them had me going, if I could see your faces. So when it comes to certain ones, emoji spam, do whatever you want, because a couple of them had me kind of taken aback as well, and I'm like, this is great, this is exactly what we're after. Let's get back to the chat, see what's going on. Surge Hunter, he's been loving the Signatory 100 Proof the Clynelish 10. Those Signatory 100s, can't go wrong with them, can you really? I don't know, maybe did I miss? A lot of them are heavily sherried. Are they mostly sherried? Or is there going to be some... I know, it sounds whatever, but is there bourbon? Is there any other casks on the way? I've not been keeping up to date too much. Evening Neil, thanks for coming in. Gary Steen's got a mystery malt, Benrinnes 14 and the SNWS Benrinnes 17, brilliant. I was dying to get a mystery malt Benrinnes. And if you've not seen my videos where I do the kind of road trip last summer, and we go up to Dalmore and it's a mystery malt day, and we take 2 bottles down to Craigellachie Bridge and open them, and I get absolutely punked. Because I thought we might have had one. Jerry's poured a Copperworks Amaro cask bottled for the Whisky Club, Feis Ile Distillery. Apologies to Westland. Westland's great as well. Got a bottle of Westland in that cupboard. There it is. You can see it just under there, just peeking away. I'll try and get that light on in a second. Who else we got in? I can see Lowlanders in, mate. Great to have you in. Hope you're keeping well. Let me get down. Jim saying, too many samples are a good shout. Very generous group. I know. I can only imagine Roy. Like, especially after the Independent Festival and stuff, how many he must have been carrying away. Jerry saying that's a good one as well. And then we've got, where am I getting to? I'm trying to catch up. Let's see. There we go. Jeff Whiskey, great to have you in, mate. Hope you're keeping well. 3 great sinners. And James Morgan. Wonder if Rachel sourced that Green River. Still trying to see. He doesn't think the last confession's that bad. I'll try not to waste my liver on bad drinks if I can help it. Like, there's no bad or good here. We're no playing God. We're no saying you're damned or you're elected and you'll be fine. It's more just each to their own. Everybody carries it. And I think what's interesting is you'll find, having spoke to a few people about it, some people really struggled to think of whiskey like sins and confessions that they could admit to. Mine's with the open bottle. It was that, or it was going to be, and I was meaning to pick a bottle up and I just never ended up getting around to it. My other one was going to be, I really enjoyed Glenfiddich 12 with ginger beer and lime. And I came about that just messing about in here. Up, the cameras went again, isn't it? Give me a second, guys. I'm going to keep talking. What I can do in the meantime, let me see. I think we might have to do something a wee bit different. Still here, but we're gonna very quickly adapt and keep this going while I figure out the camera problem, why it keeps cutting out. It's never done that before, so of course tonight was the night I was going to decide. Let's see. We're back. Very strange. Very, very strange. I don't know what's going on with that, guys. I can only apologise. Just decided to auto turn off. But we do have another angle, which isn't the best, to be fair. I'll sort it out when we get to the next segment of confessions, but bear with me. I don't know why it's turning off. Bit odd. Right, where were we? We were talking about sins. And we're there. So yeah, I'm getting down. Let me just keep checking. YouTube keeps changing the name. Whiskey with Molly saying, I'm very deliberate with samples. I drink them within a week of receiving them. Always reach for samples. Yeah, I think if you're doing samples, you've got to be on it. You've got to be really tight with it. You've got to keep going. Jeff is saying I have a shame box under my desk. A shame box. Is it that bad? My goodness. I'm trying to find you in the chat. I have a shame box under my desk for 60 samples waiting for me to find a free, isn't it? Exactly. And then I think part of me isn't the biggest on samples because if I get into something, then it's done. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those. JD and Coke, still the best with Coke, in my opinion. I like a Woodford Reserve. And then I did a video a couple of Christmases ago just to kind of wind some folk up, where I did a Rip Van Winkle with Coke. That was lovely. And given the upcoming fuel shortage, you could use that Japanese whiskey to fill up your tank. I probably could. Probably wreck that as well though, just like it wrecked my palate. It was not great. Iain saying, I have a classic in the moment, Craig Ellicky 13, lovely stuff, brilliant. And Adrian's on Irish, is away on holiday and bought a bottle on the way out. Old Comber 7 single pot. I saw the Old Comber. I was in Dublin a few weeks ago. There's a Drams on the Run Dublin coming very soon, and I saw that in the shop. It was the first time I'd seen it. I'm not familiar with it, but apparently it's pretty decent. And then Henrik's saying he loves something about I love High Coast Berg. Yeah, maybe get that cracked open in a minute. Yes. The Grail ladies know all about camera issues when we try to do a whiskey round table and the tech issues. Honestly, you can plan for it, but when it just happens, it happens. But I've got the other camera's right here. I've moved the dram cam, so if the worst happens, you're going to have to unfortunately deal with like that viewpoint for now until I get something else sorted. But hopefully we stay up here and we don't have to do that. Amy has whiskey and lemonade. That's fine. Whiskey and Irn-Bru. has been known as a thing as well. I'm out of focus now as well. Brilliant. I'm just seeing that now. This is what I mean. Everything's a bloody... Let's fix that. How's that? There we go. Best laid plans. Getting sorted. Focus. I know. It's the chat you're here for though. It's not my face. It's not my face, right. I'm going to skip everybody telling me it's blurry. I'm catching up. Crutch cam, no thanks. Exactly. Billy, welcome in. I know you've got to go. Catch you in the replay. In the meantime, while we've still got the camera on the go before we have to move to that, got another wee new segment. Figured we can try out new things tonight, can't we? It's not like there's a lot of people.
How bad could it be? It could be shit.
Oh, I don't know why he's done that. But this new segment is called How Bad Could It Be? And I figured, you know what? I was going through those unopened bottles and I saw a couple of bottles where I thought, how bad could it be? Maybe we crack open them. So this evening's How Bad Could It Be? Is a Loch Castle Blended Scotch Whisky, 40%. This blended Scotch whisky, produced in accordance with the finest Scottish traditions, is obtained from grain and malt whiskies and matured in oak casks. It's specially selected. And on the back, it says absolutely nothing else. This cost me, I believe, under €7 in Seville in January. And I posted it on my Instagram story, and the wide and greater good said to me, well, it must be good because it's specially selected. And it's Loch Castle. Loch Castle. So, we're going in. This could be the best or worst thing I've ever had in my life. I have a feeling I know what way it's going to go. Right, I've been very generous with that pour. Fucking it. Right, immediately on the nose, it took me back to my daughter's nappies, maybe a year and a half ago. Just number ones, not number twos. It's no good on the nose. There's a very distinct mashy. I'm really struggling to get my nose in it. There's alcohol there. It smells kind of like a... How can I put it? It smells like an alleyway beside like popular pubs. It's no. It doesn't smell. It smells like pish. It smells pretty atrocious. And I mean literal. Oh, things I do. Right. Cheers, guys. Amazingly, body-wise, there's hee-haw there. There's nothing. It's thin. It's tissue paper thin on the palate. The taste is nothing like the smell, thank God. It's young. It's alcohol. It's... I don't even know if you could use that in like a mixed drink. I don't think there's enough to it. Like bells and stuff would be elite against this. I've just seen someone's comment there. Jim's, would it be that bad blind, Dave? If you didn't know, potentially crap because it's cheap, or it smells. It just smells on the nose. It genuinely smelled like it just smelled like urine. Like a really strong, no ammonia type, but just And for the women in the chat and stuff, I'm sure you've been in a gents' toilets at the best. Like, it's no. It smells terrible. It smells horrendous. But it drinks like nothing. It drinks like alcohol, but it doesn't have a. I've had worse malts on the palate. I had one at the blind taste challenge, Roy's Aquabiti's blind taste challenge, that just, I was like, ugh, get that away from me. But this, taste wise, it's no unpleasant. I think if you're on your holidays, maybe you're having a beer and you fancy a wee dram and you don't want to pay €13 for a J&B or 16 for Johnny Walker, and you want to buy 2 bottles, you could buy this and probably have the worst hangover of your life after it. But taste wise, it's fine. You could mix it as a highball, whatever, if you just needed to, but or fling it in punch or something. It's very international. In the back, there's no English, but there's every other European language and how to recycle it. And pregnant women shouldn't drink it, so keep that in mind, guys. If you're out with your partners, don't give them this. But aye, that was the latest and greatest segment that I've came up with.
How bad could it be? It could be shit.
Let us know in the comments if you want to see more of that segment in future live streams, because I'm more than happy to. Exactly, the things I do, no for content, I do it for the greater good. I do it for the greater good. It's no for me, because that is certainly no for me. And if you're a subscriber or viewer of the channel, you'll know I do a series called For Me or No For Me. And I've got another Spanish special. Run a bit, I think it was even cheaper. I think it was under €5 that I bought a couple of years ago. And that was a bottle that I was going to do a taste test with. Let's see how the reaction to that segment was. Coming back up. It's going to taste a E150, nothing else. I don't even think it tasted a E150. Exactly, Loch equals good. How could anything bad come from Loch or Castle? Like, and it's exactly that. How bad can it be? But we've all done it. We all make those purchases where we're like, it seems like a bargain. Of the crack of a metal cap. Exactly. Evening, Codger. Hope you're keeping well. Yes, was just back from Islay. So one of the bartenders at Islay are making a whiskey cocktail using Irn-Bru and Ardbeg. I struggle with Irn-Bru in whiskey. It doesn't quite land on my palate, but there you go. It's maths, isn't it? It's maths. Put them together and how bad can they be? Let's see. I use it as whiskey. Honestly, it could have been like one of, like, will it distill? Will it blend? It could have been maybe saying bottled by exactly. And Peter saying, do you have some of the tailing review? Gift for Rachel, maybe. Nah, we need to do it to her. Guys, don't know what's going on with this. What we'll do is I'll cut to this horrible view cam in the now. We'll go into the confessions part 2 while I try and sort this out, if you don't mind. But I'll let these guys take it.
Welcome to Kanpai Planet. I'm Mac, and today I have a confession to make. You see, I run a Japan Drinks YouTube channel. I've lived in Tokyo for 20 years, surrounded by some of the world's most revered whiskey. But what do I do when I get home and I need to relax? I pour myself some scotch. Almost always scotch. You see, Japanese whiskey can sometimes feel like work to me, analysing tasting notes, comparing them to past releases from that company, and the competitive landscape, looking at specs and marketing literature. Don't get me wrong, drinking Scotch helps me calibrate against the world of whiskey, and it provides far better bang for your buck, almost always. But even I need to clock off sometimes. Until next time, Kanpai.
Hello, my whisky confession is that I once made a whisky ice cream float from a long row 18 and a strawberry snowball soda from the Paisley Drinks Company. I'm currently enjoying a little highball with some Bunnahabhain 25 soda and ice. My next confession is that this is not a Bunnahabhain 25, but it is a Bunnahabhain 12. Cheers!
Hello, Iain for Teeth here, and my whisky confession is I don't actually like drinking whisky from one of these. While tulip shape or Capita glasses are great for nosing, for drinking they're a bit clunky, and I'd far prefer to be drinking whisky from a good quality tumbler, particularly one with a thin lip that has kind of a broad entrance to the mouth. Perfect for drinking whisky. My more sinful confession, however, and you might hate me for this, is that Glencairn 10-year-old tastes great from the freezer. Sacrilege, I know, but you can't knock it till you tried it, and it really, really works. So, yeah. Slanjoa.
My whisky confession is a lack of discipline, specifically a lack of discipline when it comes to samples. I'm very, very disorganised, and because I'm opening so many new bottles and full bottles, it means that samples can often get ignored. And that's not cool, because these samples are a measure of the amazing generosity and that spirit of sharing that we have in the community. I know I need to spend a bit more time just sitting down of an evening and relaxing with samples instead of all these shiny new full bottles. So there's more work to be done on my part. But there you have it. A lack of organisation, a lack of discipline, and a lack of attention to all these amazing samples that I have. Must try harder.
My whisky confession is, although I love Scotch, I can bottle Scotch and I love Scotch. The most whisky that I actually drink is a soupy Tennessee sour mash with Coca-Cola.
My whisky confession is, if I don't like a drink, I pour it down the sink. That can be a whiskey in a cocktail, that could be a sample that I've bought. If I don't like it, I just get rid of it. Life's too short to be drinking bad drinks. However, if it's a full bottle or a larger bottle, I give it to somebody else. Maybe they'll like it.
Right, we've moved to this one. We've moved to this camera now. We're going to see if it's maybe a battery issue with the other camera, so apologies for that, guys. It's never easy. It's never easy. I don't know if my audio's syncing as well, because that'll just be another part of this whole hoo-ha that I need to try and fix. But bear with me. So, great confessions from Mac and from Jen and from Iain. If you don't know who Iain is, look him up. He's just been awarded keeper. And I'm not talking about goalkeeper, so brilliant. When I saw him pull the bottle from the freezer, I was like, oh my god, who would do such a thing? Dram wise, I need to pour a dram. What are we saying? Are we going that Benrinnes? Audio sync's good. Brilliant. Great. I'm glad that's all somehow fixed itself. We had Iain, Jen, and we had Mac. Let us know what you're thinking. Amy's saying she was intrigued by the Glencairn. Exactly. Really, really interesting idea. If I had a bottle myself, I would have flung it in and tried it. If he's saying it's good, you know, if it's coming straight to the source, it must be alright. Must be alright. Just got to try it as well. This guy again. That's my summer sorted. And then Serge is saying the new Glencairn label looks awful. Well, each to their own. Each to their own. Jerry's saying he's drinking from a rocks glass now. Yeah, like I think the glassware one was an interesting one as well. Where, again, in the freezer and a tumbler. Fair play. Like what you like. Everybody's into their own thing. John saying Mac is a legend. He absolutely is. He absolutely is. And I thought that was really intriguing. I think he felt he was going to get a bit of shame. Around he does Japanese whiskey, but he loves Scotch. But I think that's a good confession. I don't think it's a sin as such. I think he's saying he really enjoys a malt. And I think the stuff the Japanese whiskey is, some of it is just so good, but there is a difference. I think sometimes what we love about Scotch is that funky dirtiness, that kind of just, there's so much different variations in the way it's done. And I think the Japanese sometimes is just a wee bit, maybe speaking out of turn here, but a wee bit too clean at times. Very, very beautiful, but can be found to be a wee bit clean. Let's see what else we got. Yep, the gnomes again. Crotch cam it is. Aye. Our big 10 cask strength would hold up against Irn-Bru, do you reckon? Do you reckon so? I need to try, like, I tried Irn-Bru with a few and I just couldn't quite, there's something about it, but maybe need to get the 1901 Irn-Bru. For anybody that's not Scottish, well, anybody British knows about Jamie Oliver, the chef, and he led this campaign about school meals and getting rid of the sugar tax, blah, blah, blah. And then sugar tax came in and it destroyed the Irn-Bru original recipe because of the amount of sugar in it. And so everybody was devastated. I remember the first time I tried Irn-Bru after this came in, I was living in England, hadn't had it for a while, got a can, and it tasted like diet Irn-Bru to me. They brought out 1901. It's more expensive, but it's just full of sugar and it tastes like how it should. As you know, and everybody's let me know. Yep, sinking, brilliant. Gordon, great to have you in, mate. Hope you're keeping well. Let me see. And the technique was, it's something that only us, unfortunately, YouTubers have to deal with. If we just kept everything easy. Should have tried this for you. I wonder if Loch Castle. Would work well. Normally my camera, I keep looking up here because that's where my camera nut is, but that's where my chat is. So I'm just used to talking up here. So I need to talk here. I need to remind myself we're down here. Oh God, echo. Don't start with the echo gate. Remember that? Codger. JC's in. Through the bottom of the fridge. Compass box Orchid House. Yeah, Orchard House is great. Let's see. I am going to go for. Shall we go? The only thing is the Benrinnes is 60.9. Did we go a wee bit easier than that to kick off? I've seen a few really, really extol the virtues of. I thought this would be easy. The Sanderbud, but it's 58.9 as well. So that's an error on my part. Do we just go with the Sanderbud? I think we do. Let's go for it. Well, it's better than the last one. Doesn't smell like pish. I'm sure the fine folks at Adelphi will be delighted with that review. Needs a wee bit of time in the glass. Definitely no alleyway, no nappies. I've no idea the makeup of this, but I'm just reading about Colin Campbell, who it's all created. It's created in his honour. Colin Campbell, Scottish lawyer turned merchant. He died in 1757, so 13 years. He died 13 years before old Hoggy Boy here. Same century. Quite a step up for the old Loch Castle. Put that there. I'm going to let that open up in the glass while I go to the chat and see what's going on. Black Fence saying, Glasshouse Irn-Bru works well, in my honest opinion. Lauren saying, Irn-Bru 1901 effed fuck the world, of course. We've still got a can of OG Irn-Bru saved up for a rainy day. It's about 5 years old, but not like it goes off. You know, I had small Irish whiskey matured in small Irn-Bru season cask once day. Not great. I wonder, it would just be sugary, surely. Loch Castle would work amazingly well in the freezer. Just put it in there, never, ever, ever take it out again. I think that would be the plan. I think JJ would just pour that down the sink. This is liquid gold. If I ever do any blind tastings and send stuff out, there's a chance that could be in amongst some gold. I'm just saying, but Rob Weller, we'll get there. We will get there. The blend. Julian's got the Heritage Barley released in glass. Brilliant, brilliant choice. I was out for my birthday the other week and went into Free Greek Street, the parish formerly known as Milroy's in London. And while I was there, it came down to having a Woodrose Ardnamurchan or having a Heritage Barley release, and I went for the Woodrose, and it was fine, and I regretted my decision because it was fine. It was an Ardnamurchan. It was nice, independent. It was nice, but it didn't scratch the itch that the Heritage did. 60.9. So what? Exactly. We'll move on to that next. I think just after the Loch Castle, I wanted to give it a chance. Problem was, probably has a fair amount of antifreeze in it, I would imagine, so I don't know if they would have put it in. Living Souls Bowmore. I need to ask you, how is it? I keep looking at that camera up there. How is it? I've not heard anybody tell me about the Living Souls Bowmore that came and went, because it sold out really quickly. Please let me know. And then, where are we at? Ardbeg 5 Beastie. That holds up surprisingly well. And I think Frank Peterhead makes a really good point here about trouble with those cheap whiskies is that people turn away from whiskey if that's their first. Organise a tasting first was a sheep dip with the words don't drink, just ditch. I find that with a lot of people that you talk about whiskey and, oh, you're into whiskey. I don't like whiskey. And they always have this horrendous experience with it. And I think it's just because maybe it's what the grandparents have had or what they've found in a cupboard. Or it's never... No one's first whiskey is going to be something really palatable for them. Where it's like... There are lucky people out there that have a first whiskey and everything opens up to them. But I remember like my first Lagavulin. I was... 18, 19, working in a bar in Glasgow. Weirdly, it was a mispour. Somebody ordered too many or something. It was in the bar and it sat, and my gaffer, my boss, turned around and said, "Here, try this." And I remember sipping it and being like, "Oh God, it's like a burnt." I remember it was like a burnt stick. That's how it felt in my palate. And I was like, oh, and I tried to add Coke to it and everything to try and make it palatable, and I couldn't deal with it. And I think a lot of people have that reaction. That's whiskey. Oh, it's an acquired taste. It takes time to get the palate to where it needs to be, to really delve into it, and it's such a shame that there's a kind of push. Some whiskies get pushed on people from a marketing point of view and whatever, and you're just like, look, what are you doing? Let's ease them in. Let's ease them in the right way. You don't go straight to like double espressos if you've never had coffee before, or maybe you do, but you know, you have to ease people in, and stuff like that. Maybe that would ease somebody in, because it doesn't really taste like much to me, but on a fresh palate, I'm sure it tastes terrible. Ian's off. Sorry, Ian, I'm just catching up there in the chat. Loving this evening, but having to call it tonight. Enjoy the rest of the night. Catch up. Ian, pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure to have you in. Right, 10-year Northstar Benrinnes, 60.9 in the glass, ages since I had it. I think I'll come on to that. You've done the same, sorry. misreading that there. Is that the same one then? We've got the same one. I'll get that open next then. So Hunter saying Bowmo was nice, but I preferred the recent Douglas Lang Bowmo with a tequila cast finish. Right. I've not had many tequila cast finishes I've enjoyed. If I'm honest, mezcal as well. I've just not quite. We had a bottom shelf bottle, $6 US for a poverty dinner with friends. All the food that night was meals we had as kids when our families were broke. The food was good. The whiskey, well, aye, exactly. That's really opening up. I'm going to add a wee bit of water to it. A lot sweeter. Really opened it up lovely. Peat's there. I think there's peat in it. At least that's something in common with Roy, with the peat blight. Like, I struggle a wee bit with peat now. Like, to pull it out. I'm going to... Let's see what we've got. I need that comment. And then I'm just seeing... First alcohol of any kind was an 80s Dewar's white label at age 14. 1995. My 16-year-old cousin had deemed it the least likely to get drunk by my uncle. I think it's still in his bar. White label's alright. Dewar's white label's fair enough. Amy liked Deanston and Tequila Cast. Grail, love that one. Yeah, I got a friend of mine to buy that for a partner for his birthday because he was a big tequila drinker, but wanted to get into whiskey, and I thought, well, that's a nice route in. I felt the Tequila Cask gave a really weird agave funk to the Bowman, making it very fun whiskey to blindly give to someone. JD Rains saying just poured a dram of Deanston 12, can't get enough. Deanston 12 was very nearly one of these bottles. No Deanston 12, sorry, Deanston Virgin Oak Cask Strength that I picked up ages ago. And that's sitting behind there. I don't know why I never picked that. I just preferred those ones the night, to be honest. Glen Scotia 12 in the glass, solid. Glen Scotia's great, isn't it? I was going to try and find time for a segment tonight about the festivals coming up, because Glen Scotia have released obviously their Campbeltown Festival bottling. I ran out of time, so I don't even know what the bottling is. It was on my list of things to research, but I thought the how bad could it be was a better segment for this evening rather than news. I'm going to have another sip of this, and then I'm going to crack open it. I'm going to try and crack open as many of these bottles and have wee sips of each, so they're banished for the Whisky Confessional. But guys, I'm not seeing many sins in there. I'd love to see your sins. Please fire away. Let us know what, if you've not submitted one already, what would you say your Whisky Confession is? What's something that normally you would kind of be like, oh, I'm not sure about that. I don't know if people no look fondly on it or whatever. We've got quite a few of them. Hopefully I don't have to replay everybody else's sins again. I think we might be getting to a place in a few minutes, hopefully, where the camera holds up. Don't quite know what's going on. I don't know if it's the camera wire. I don't know. I replaced the plug earlier. It could have been that, but it's a bit odd that both are going. It could be the camera itself. I hope not. Let me see. Maybe my fourth bottle of Glen Scotia Festival Release 2026 is the best one they've ever done. What, Whiskey with Molly, what's the makeup of it? Love to know. Got and Whiskey says, you asked for my sin and I submitted it. You did. I've got them saved here. Thanks for reminding me, Amy. I was trying to make them anonymous, but I think people might know it's you just by a wee bit in it. But while we're doing this isn't going to work properly because the camera that it's going to go to is maybe this camera. But I'm going to play it anyway, which is big shout out big shout out to the English Whisky Awards. Let's see if we can make magic happen. Let's see. Are we back? We're going to be out of focus if we're back. We're back. We're going to fix the focus. There we go. Do that. Do that. And we should be back. Here we go. We'll see how long this lasts, guys. Fingers crossed. I want to give a shout out. English Whisky Awards. Jeff Whisky and No Nonsense Whisky Vin are hosting it again this year. If you haven't already voted, tomorrow is the deadline. I myself have to do it. I've tried it on my phone. Didn't work. Jeff Whisky, if you are there, let me see if I can find the link. I was going to drop it into the chat for this evening for everybody to readily have it. Let me see if I can find it. The English Whisky Awards. Put it here. Put it there. Guys, get voting if you can. Participate. And great cause. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that goes into it. They get nothing for it. It's all off their own back. English whiskey is only getting better and better to the point where it's no longer English whiskey, it's just whiskey, isn't it? Really, really good. But yeah, we're back. Okay, we're back on this for who knows how long. But bear with me up here. But we still have crotch cam, as it was so only called by Whiskey with Molly. Gene Kelly, my sin. There are blends that I enjoy nearly as much as more expensive single malts. McLean's Nose, Orchard House, Nectarosity. And that's absolutely fine. I think we forget at times, and I'm sure you don't, but people do forget that blends were the way forward for the longest time before the single malt boom. And the stuff that Compass Box does is fantastic. McLean's Nose, great blend. I love a green label, Johnny Walker Green Label. It's a blend as well. Like there's tons of blends out there that are really enjoyable. Orchard House is up there, probably my top 3. I give that to so many people that are just getting involved. And whiskey is a way of engaging with them. Right, I'm catching up with the glass and seeing. Dude, got Scabba makes a perfect breakfast whiskey paired with a cup of coffee and a slice of bread. And Surge Hunter's saying, I guess my biggest current sin would be that I don't get the hype with Glen Scotia. I like the Victoriana, but other than that, I've never been blown away. Each to their own. Each to their own. Absolutely. And then Glen Scotia Festival. Great pollution. And I'll leave it. Ruby Port, medium peated. Oh, here we go. Now we're talking. And then I'm seeing it's matured in first fill ex-bourbon cask before a 6-month. Oh, right, okay, I'll need to be trying that. And I might save that for when I'm in Campbeltown. My sin is that sometimes 40% is okay. I've Lefroy Tender Bar recently and enjoyed it. Oh, dirty, there's nothing wrong with a 40% whiskey either. I think, again, we can be too hard on ourselves. I like a Glenmoe 12. I think is that over 40? I don't even know. Black Label. I like a Black Label, 40%. There comes a time, there comes a place, and it's alright. And then where are we at? And Adrian, okay, here we go. Before I got to know about great quality, I bought 2 expensive bottles of Macallan as an investment. Oh, mate, we've all been there. That's one of my sins. I've got a bottle of Yamazaki peated that I bought for like 400 odd quid. Oh, it's still sitting. I'm like, what have I done? That was years ago, before I knew better. Because I bought it to try and get another bottle. Because I thought if I buy this in the ballot, then if I don't buy it, I'll never win anything in the ballot. And I never won anything in the ballot afterwards anyway. So great. Absolute mug coming. GD Rain, confession, maybe sin dumping. Half a dram down the sink drain when I wake a little time after falling asleep after a busy day. Aye. It's worse. I hate when you pour a dram and you're sitting and then you get distracted and you're like, I'm just going to bed and whatever. And then you come back the next day and you get like that in a glass. It's just, that was a really good one. Jerry saying, real sins are hard to quantify. Maybe a sin to others, but not me. I still have a few 40% bottles on the shelf when I just want something to sip and not think about. And that's absolutely fine. As I said, there's no harm in that. And then, where are we at? Sorry guys, we did, as I said, Jeff Whisky, English Whisky Awards. Show them the love, guys. You don't have to submit for every category. There's 5 categories this year. Submit what you know. Get involved. The English producers really, really value the feedback. And Adrian, then I discovered Ralphie and properly sold both at loss to buy real whiskey. Aye, at least you got out. Little Single Cask, single malt, my low value cocktails. Live once, you know what I mean? Enjoy yourself. And then, sorry, 6.5 years on ex-bourbon, 7-year age statement, 6 months finished, first fill, brilliant. And then, Whiskey with Molly, super chat, £5. Mate, appreciate it, thank you so much. Very kind, very kind. You're putting up with a lot, with all the camera errors. I love how stuff just never breaks when you don't need it to, do you know what I mean? It just only breaks when there's stuff going on. Julian, don't love to admit it, but I used to love an Auchentoshan American oak. Grew out of it. Loved the hot toddy at the distillery too. You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. These are great, guys. This is exactly what we're talking about. Like, everybody has these sins, and then once one comes out, somebody goes, oh, that's it. I've got something similar. I'm similar, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's great. It's like proper pub chat. And maybe saying exactly, I mean, it's not that long since a prevailing belief was that single malt was a poor version of drinking blends. Bigger sin, having bottles delivered to work so I can sneak them into the collection without the missus catching me. Oh, lockdown was a nightmare. Lockdown was an absolute nightmare. And Jim Whiskey Novice saying, blending is the alchemy of whiskey. In my opinion, blends don't get enough focus. Exactly. I think it's such a skill. Friend of the channel, Pete Allison, master blender of Woven. Stuff he does is wild. It blows my mind how he can take things and make them taste the way he makes them taste. They did it for the Royal Mile halftime oranges, the Whiskey Fringe, a couple of years ago, and he literally made this absolute explosion of orange in the glass for their halftime orange special dram, and I loved it. And if you watch the previous VPub that I guess hosted, where he was on as a guest with Mac, Kanpai Planet and Billy Abbott, he actually towards the end goes away and comes back and reads out what that blend was, what he did to do it. Try to keep up with the chat. Whiskey with Molly saying the first two that he bought, like, where is it? First 2 bottles of whiskey I bought were Highland Park Fire and Ice because they looked cool. I was going to retire when I resold them. Like, everybody's had that, haven't they? My sin is an absolute lack of desire to go on distillery tours. The actual process of distillation is phenomenally dull and almost exactly the same each time. Just get the samples out. I agree with you to a point that it is. Certain distilleries, you want to go around for the history and you want to see stuff, but there is a point where you've seen one, you've seen them all. When I was in Dublin the other week, spoiler alert for Drams on the Run Dublin, but I went to Row & Co and I could have went on a tour and I was just like, I'm just going to go to the bar and get a flight, try the word. Like, I don't need to do the tour, I know how whiskey's made. But there are times and places where you want to go on that tour and get that. It depends who you're with as well, who's taking the tour and what chat you're going to get. So I can agree that if you ever get a chance to do the Dornoch tour, it's definitely worth the hour. In one door, out another, done. Let me see, what else we got? Just saying, oh crap, that's a great sin I commit regularly. The dram didn't drain. Aye, exactly. It's a nightmare, isn't it? Absolute nightmare. Is it a sin to smell the glass first thing the following morning? Absolutely not. My wife normally smells it from upstairs in the morning. Like, it's so true, like, that a woman's sense of smell compared to a man's, and the amount of people that have backed that up with tales of their partners and stuff smelling whiskey across a room and what's in their glass. It's wild. It's wild, whereas me, I'm like, half the time it needs to be right close. Codger, my Whisky Sin was that for the first 55 years of my life, I believed it to be one of the worst drinks known to man. Codger, I was the exact same until lockdown. Exact same. Not worst drink. I would try to get into it, but it was never... And there's a widespread belief that everybody in Scotland drinks whiskey, and that is not the case. And I was a barman in Scotland, and I certainly didn't drink whiskey either. Auchentoshan Freewood still makes a great old-fashioned. Aye. I don't mind a Freewood. It's been a while since I had a Freewood, but I don't mind a Freewood. PX. And then, what else we got? Loch Castle Bar may be the best in Scotland. It's a great pub, great bar, great setting, great venue. I was only gutted I was there one night. It was such a whistle stop, but it's so good, isn't it? It's just such a great spot. And Julian saying, what about the sin of fibs I've told to the wife when a brown box of the shape of a bottle arrives? Explain why I need one more bottle to fill a hole in the collection. Mine's is through worry. What if somebody comes to the Black Lodge and they ask for a whiskey and I don't have it? Imagine the shame. That was the justification I told myself for a long time. Or I'm going to make a video. And then the Tour of Rowan call. Here's some Bushmills. That stuff came from GND. We're owned by Diageo and as such are struggling a little. Not worth it. Actually, I will say I really I had the flight and I was really pleasantly surprised with the actual whiskey itself. I went in with no expectations of it being like near what I wanted, and I left having tried a few, and then the barman gave me a couple of cask strength stuff for behind the bar. It was alright. It was actually like to the point where I bought a bottle of the blend at duty free. I wouldn't have paid full price, but the duty-free bourbon cask, it was fine. And then Whisky with Molly saying, is it a sin to have really enjoyed the Johnny Walker experience? Well, absolutely not. It's Willy Wonka for whiskey, it's great, and look, Amy used to work there, so absolutely not. Loch Castle Bar is amazing, apart from when they give you the Scottish tap water that just reeks of chlorine. Oh my god. And Surge Hunters, off to bed. Mate, appreciate you joining. Thanks so much for joining in this evening. You're going to miss, on that, before you go to bed, kind of leave you hanging on the last of the confessions. Got to get the confessions in. So, here we go.
Forgive me, father-in-law, for I have sinned. This is my confession. Almost every Sunday in life, my father-in-law comes over for lunch. And before that lunch, we will have a little whiskey together. However, I learned very early on that he likes to add an awful lot of water to that whiskey. So the bottle set in front of him may be akin to this. However, what's pre-poured in his glass will actually be more akin to this. If we could just keep that under our hats, I would appreciate it very much. Cheers.
Rachel from the Grail Tastings here. Thank you for asking for my whiskey confession. I'm excited to listen to other people's whiskey confessions too. So my whiskey confession is, and this is not a secret confession, you can view the shame online if you wish, is I'm not a huge fan of Springbank, which I'm not ashamed of, to be fair. Different tastes. I find it too funky, and I know a lot of people love it, and that's very valid also. But we tried a little bit of some local barley, and I was finding it, as I recall, particularly funky. So I added a little bit of a craft soda, I think it was a raspberry lemonade off the top of my head, to see if that would improve it in the pursuit of flavour. As our tagline is whiskey geeks, not whiskey snobs. But I believe the gods of flavour did indeed punish me for that decision, because I don't think it made it taste any better. I think it made it taste a lot worse. But nonetheless, I'm glad I tried it. I experimented. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, my name is Sam, and I've been asked to contribute a Whisky Sin. I've got many, but But I think one that maybe for this occasion makes sense is to embrace the fact that I don't mind and in fact like drinking whiskeys that are full of E150. Spirit caramel rounds out edges and makes a nicer drink. Maybe not nicer to nose and taste, but certainly I accept it and I don't turn my nose up at it. So, is that a sin? I guess it is.
My whiskey confession is, please forgive me, I like Dalmore. I know most releases are chill filtered. I know they're often low ABV, and not to mention the sinful amount of artificial colour flooded in each bottle. It just has such a soft spot in my heart. I can hear it calling me. Hello. How are you? Quite well. Thank you very much.
You can see me just...
Hi there. Hello. How are you? But if I ever see you nosing it like this, I'll kill you.
What do we think of those sins? There's a couple in there that really flung me as well. I've already seen the comments coming in, but thank you so much to everyone that contributed. Really appreciate it. Sent out a few messages for it, and I would say I had a 99% reply rate, which is great, because they took the time to help. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well. I'd love to know which ones caught your eye with that. Is it a sin to covet the chair you're sitting in? I have two of these that I picked up from an elderly woman down the road from me, and it was just after lockdown, or was it before? It had been just after lockdown kind of lifted, and I got two of them for 50 quid. How we fit them in the car, I have no idea. But saying, come on, David, confess mine. Right, I was doing it. That's what I was doing, and then the camera went funny again, didn't it? I have way too many. I have way too many samples, but prefer to try whiskey in company. My boyfriend hates this, and that's absolutely fine. That's what you should. It should be shared. I'm going to read out a couple more. Lafroig Lore is one of my favourite drams. That was one. Again, like the sin of that. I put Coke in a Speyside whiskey instead of water. Don't like Springbank. Please block my name if shared. That was just a few of them. But thank you so much for everybody for contributing. It's so good to hear. Like, these are people in the whiskey world. Everybody's got their deep secrets. Desi, welcome in. Hope you're keeping well. Sin's already been named tonight. If I really don't like a whiskey, I pour it down the drain. Absolutely. Top tip when ordering a bottle from a distillery, include a gift note. Thanks for your loyalty. Have a free bottle on us. I'll need to try that one. I will absolutely give that a shot. Rob saying, my sin is all the... Where is it? My sin is a special release of big bottles I bought back in the day. Oh, I know. Most popular reel I ever made on Instagram was taking the... Well, was it Take the Piss out of that? Was one of them. I did one where it was like the levers they pull and all the mad ideas the marketing team have. And he's not a Springbank person either, but she's fine. Like I think the pressure of it, everybody having to like the same thing, and then where this jumped a lot there. I'm trying to find. Well done, Jim. Not me that maneuver myself. I poured my dad an Irn White Stag 9, and he put 4 ice cubes in it. Now he gets the nose and loves it. Indeed, massive. There's that comment. Bought a number of bottles from the Whisky Exchange and never select free delivery. I live 30 minutes away, so drive for collection, then add to my collection. Whiskey is my secret passion. Brilliant. Now that is a sin. I'm believing. Oh, that's an unforgivable sin. Holy sin. El Jefe. No, Jeff.
Shame. Shame.
It's almost like I knew those two would really. I'm glad that's why I kept them for last. Jeff cracks me up. Jeff, oh boy, two of the same confessions, unprompted as well. They both came in with it. Jeff saying everybody knows Jeff likes Dalmore. He's English. I remember what was it? The what were they called? The whiskey. Roy did a live VPub with them. The bourbon channel. It's on the tip of my tongue. Can't remember it, but they said, we went to Scotland, loved it, and we loved Dalmore. And I remember Roy's reaction, his face, very stoic, very, yeah, cool. And then the chat, I remember seeing the chat, the VPub chat exploding. So when I saw Jeff say that, I was like, oh, this is brilliant. So good. Jeff saying, I can identify E150. Talisker was my gateway into peated whiskies, and I still love it completely. And I think this is what I mean. It's everybody's got different palates and different preferences, and I think that's really interesting. That idea of people enjoying that E150 additive into it. Yes, we're saying Jeff missed a trick not promoting the Lucheg Sin, Claire. See what you did there. Whisky with Molly saying, has she noticed you've taken her chairs? I don't think so. And maybe she's no came chasing after me. Pied gave away the Lefroy Glore. Is it a sin to lie to the missus and tell her I won it? Save the hassle. I would believe so. I would believe that would be deemed a sin. I'm disappointed you didn't play the Pet Shop Boys. It's a Sin in the background. You know, I looked for a cover version that wouldn't get me copyright claimed, and there was none. But I did put it on my Instagram story, Lolander. I love a bit on Instagram. I love a bit of the Homes Under the Hammer vibe. Anybody that doesn't know what Homes Under the Hammer is, it's a daytime TV show on the BBC about auctions and houses, but they always go really pointed on the nose with the soundtrack for each house. Like, you name it. Like, if they're knocking down a wall and they discover something amazing in the wall, they'll play Wonderwall. It's like that, and that's how I approach my Instagram. For anybody that's never known or anybody that cares, I try and find the songs that connect with the very literal thing that's going on. Why not have a game of whiskey roulette with sample bottles with a few friends round? Absolutely. It's getting people round. Problem is life gets in the way, doesn't it? I've got a young daughter and a lot of my friends have young kids now, and try to find the time. Hence why we're doing try to open these bottles. Loads of these bottles were meant to be for people to come round and enjoy. Lowlander, that's exactly it. That is exactly it. It's bourbon night, and shame on me because I met them. I met with them in, I did karaoke with them in Kentucky. And we met at a Bardstown thing that I wasn't supposed to be at. And we got a picture taken, and they texted it to Roy. And I had to laugh because I was like, I didn't really know Roy that well at the time. And I was like, he's going to wake up in the morning in the middle of the night and there's just going to be a picture of me between it's bourbon night on his. So I don't know if he ever got that. Roy, you'll need to let me know if you ever got that picture, because they took a picture of me and sent it to you. Never told anybody that. It's funny. But you can watch that if you go back and watch the Kentucky road trip stuff that I posted on YouTube. You'll see that party and stuff. It was amazing. But good people, really nice, both of them. And it wasn't Rex and Daniel Scotch Test, it's bourbon night. What else we got? It's well a 107 time. I have a waited to join in. Right, I'm going to crack open. We're going into the Benrinnes 10. Jim's already got in his glass whiskey novice. Tasting notes of intense youthful malt and apricot boilings, caramel malt, water reveals tropical notes, warm, sweet, comforting. Exclusively bottled for the Good Spirits Company, 10 years. So that's what this was for. Picked this up. Then I think I also picked up the peated Glen Turret at that time as well. That back plain. Guys, admin wise, I am terrible. I'm a terrible YouTuber and live streamer. Please like, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. If you like the stream, it gets shared to more people. The Whiskey Amateur, Alan, he always reminds me of that stuff. Anytime he pops in or that. So, guys, if you can, it's much appreciated. No obligation, but it helps the channel. Right. Let's go head to head. I do think I'm coming down with something, because it's not quite cutting through what I need. It's lovely on the nose. It's no overpowering. For that proof, 60.9. Oh, I'll leave it open a wee minute. Give it some air to breathe. Let's see. You see, I don't think it's a sin, but I often dilute down. Last bit of dram, right down at 10% or less. You see what other flavours come out. If that's wrong, so are most of the old guys in Scotland. Exactly. A lot of the blenders, when you watch blending videos and stuff, and what they do, they bring it right down the proof, don't they? To really pull out. Fair enough. Good call. Yeah, I'm going to get that Weller open though. I will get that Weller open, James, tonight. Hit the like. Thank you, Adrian. And then looking forward to Limburg. Who's going? Yeah, that'll be great. I was going to do a segment tonight as well. I was going to do loads of things. Just life gets in the way. But about the festivals coming up. Because festival season is kicking off, isn't it? Beginning of May. You've got Spirit Speyside. You have Limburg, obviously, before that. You have Campbeltown. You have Feis Ile. Who's going? What he's doing? What he's looking forward to? I'm absolutely buzzing. I am going to Campbeltown. I'll be there Monday through to Friday. I've never been to Campbeltown ever. Absolutely buzzing for it. It's yeah, I can't even comprehend. I've got a few of the official ticket things, but I'm just really looking forward to hanging out with a lot of whiskey folk and just drinking amazing drams and taking my suitcase packed with quite a few of these bottles that I've got a reason they've not been opened yet to share with the greater good. Spirit of Speyside, I always get my high horse away a bit about that. My high horse being is so inaccessible for normal people, and I wish there was something done about that where they could make it a bit more affordable and a bit more easy to navigate. I think it's great for the people living up there. I think it's great for rich tourists. I just don't understand how else to do it. I know the transport, I get it, but last year, I've not even looked this year at the calendar and the pricing, because the pricing last year was just obscene for stuff. And that's not me criticising one person or one distillery or anything like that. It's just in general. I think they could do better. And as we're trying to get more people in to whiskey, I think, come on, let's do our best we can. And then Feis Ile is always mental, because of just capacity on the island, I suppose. But I would love to go to Islay. I've never been to Islay. So please let me know in the chat, guys, what you are all about. Where are you going? I do as well, and I struggle to pronounce it. That's all I'm going to say, Gordon. I struggle to pronounce that, and I hate saying it because I'm always worried I'm going to say Croft. I never know. I don't even know how to say it, if I'm honest. James said neck pours can be dodgy. I like to tip mine over. Yeah, I normally would. It has been moved. There's been a bit of bottle movement this evening with it. And love the high ABV whiskies that don't present as high ABV. Yeah, it's good juice. It's good spirit. I always find you don't have that youngness to it. Right, down the hatch. What I love about Benrinnes is the depth it's all, I hate using the phrase meatiness, but it has a meatiness to it, it has a depth and a texture to it that I really enjoy. Wee bit of pepper. Does it mention pepper? Tastes a wee bit peppery. We'll need time to open up. We'll fling a bit of water into it. Immediately. A lot lighter, a lot fruitier. Yeah. That fruit's coming, that yellow fruit. Not like apricot skins, kind of yellowy mangoey without being super fruity mango. Smells pineapple-y, like all those lovely yellow tropical fruits coming through. Sorry, I need to look up at you guys. I kind of do that when I'm tasting. I look down to try and process the thoughts that I'm getting. Lovely, really nice. That's only going to get better with time. I'm so glad I've opened that. Oh aye. Oh aye, there it is. There's your pineapple cubes. Sugar dusting. Lovely. If you can extend Campbeltown Maltfest for Saturday, do it. I would love to, mate. I can't. I really can't. The fact that my wife's letting me escape for 5 days. In my head it's free because 2 of those days are travelling. I'm technically here. I'll be back Friday night. I'm here Monday morning, but it is 5. I can't with the wee one. It's just it's asking a lot. So I was like, no, I'll leave on the Friday. I'll get the flight. I would have stayed to the Saturday afternoon, but there's no flights, so I'm flying in and out. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. There's jet fuel. Flying in and out, and then I'm flying from London straight up to the airport. Enough time for delays and stuff in between. If anything happens and I can't fly across, I will be on a bus. I will cycle from Glasgow to get there. Whisky with Molly. Spirit of Speyside is too expensive. Yes. I would love to do Spirit of Speyside, but yeah. This is what I mean. It's so... I don't hear of people going. I don't hear of people going to Spirit of Speyside. Which is kind of... Surely they see that. Or is it just enough that it's filled with rich people? Well, you're on the ball booking stuff for Campbeltown back in February. I was and I wasn't. I'm in the Cadenhead Society thing, so I always just book that ticket anyway, and then I give it to somebody if I'm not going. And then in my whiskey group, a couple of the guys got some stuff. I entered the ballot for the Malt Barns dinner. The ballot. Never got anything for that. I bought the wrong Springbank tasting. Came out because I got confused and panicked and bought something, but then got another one from one of the guys in my whiskey group. That's it. That's all I've got planned so far. I'm going to see what the wider group's doing. There's stuff obviously happening round about the festive stuff. From what I've been told and what I've seen over the last couple of years on socials, I'm not too worried about the actual going to the core things, like going to the local barley stuff and stuff like that. I'm just really excited to hang out with people and talk and drink and try amazing drams and share drams and just have that experience of the Festival of Whiskey. Because I've only ever done like shows. Like even Glasgow, you go to the show and then you go to a pub. So I'm buzzing for it, and I'll be bringing all the gear. I'll bring a camera that actually works for longer than 20-minute increments. I'm bringing some of the podcast gear to make some drams podcasts, hopefully. But I'm so buzzing for it. Yes, we're off to Feis Ile for the opening weekend lager. Laddie and Killila, can't wait. It'll be brilliant. I've also got... Did I read Port Ellen's opening? I get mixed up with another old distillery. Did I read that right? Kendal Whisky Festival in December, tickets on sale, amazing festival. I've heard that is amazing, right? And I'm wondering whether I've looked at Kendal before for December. It's just a really busy time of year for me at work, and a lot of stuff going on. So I'll need to have a wee look and see. I'll have a wee look tomorrow morning at that. Mac, Kanpai, welcome, mate. You've missed your confession segment, but people really enjoyed it. And it is. I'm on the Benrinnes. I'm on it. Yours is opened obviously longer than mine. How? I've added a wee bit of water. It's really opening up now. A lot of yellow fruit, a lot of tropicalness. Amy's on the last dram, and yeah, it's Benrinnes. I get the Ben. Absolute Benrinnes fan club here. Hi everyone, love you all. Just cut off on this great stream. Who done now? Drinking Paul John, Oloroso Cast. Do you have any Indian stuff? You mentioned Japanese in your collection. I do. I have the Irn-Bru Cask Strength, which is fantastic whiskey. I have a Paul John that I'm not really. I think I have the Paul John Oloroso Cast, but just a general release. They really tickle my fancy. And then I have the. What is it? It came. I want to say Amaret. Is it Amaret? No. I do have another Indian one. I'll have to have a wee look and see what that is. But I do have some Indian whiskey. Really, I think the Irn-Bru stuff is fantastic. I think Indian whiskey is only getting better and better. That Cask Strength one, the bourbon cat, it just sings. It sings in it, man. Yes, we're saying I had the Benrinnes 13 Brave New Spirits Bonaccord this week. Banoffee pie all the way through. Brilliant. Yeah, the Brave New Spirits stuff. So the for me or no for me that I put out this week was with the Brave New Spirits. Their grain blend, which was for me. It was really nice. Great tasting. Thanks for a great evening, Drinks Whisky, and everyone. Look forward to catching the rest tomorrow. Thank you so much again, guys, for your confessions. Really, really appreciate it. Always thank you for your support. Have a great night and enjoy the catch up tomorrow if you see it. And then God's saying, I'm going Croft Engia rather than Croftenga, but I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how to say it properly. There's a few whiskies like that I should know. Like, it's embarrassing being Scottish and nobody would pronounce the words, but at the same time. The proof in that is it's quite punchy, isn't it? Good glug of water in that. It's lovely. It's so light. It's such a light colour. I don't know if it's doing justice, but it's so pale. That not the Northstar Benrinnes. It's very pale. Very pale. Right, guys, we have. Could I maybe move that? Did I take the chance? Still on the table, we have the Springbank 11 Cadenheads one. We have the Weller Antique 107, which I'm really leaning towards. We have the Korean whiskey, the Key 1 Single Cask. We have the Red Spot 15, and of course we have the bottle of Dimple. Do let me know what you fancy. And PS saying, if I cycle from Glasgow, take the Dunoon ferry, saves time. I actually looked before I'd booked the flights and I thought, could I ferry it? I know the ferry situation isn't great. And I looked at island hopping back to Glasgow for the Saturday. And then I was like, I'm not taking the chances. I'm just going to go home on the Friday. Yes, Matt, your confession was all about how I've given my channel Japanese whiskey. Seems like work. Yeah. So for anybody that's missed it, go back, catch up. I will play them all before the end again. We'll go back to back to back with all the confessions because they were great. And 10 confessions from 10 phenomenal whiskey people. So happy to have them on board for this evening. I find it slightly vegetative, Benrinnes, but yes, fruity too. I get it on the nose a wee bit, what you're saying. I do wonder if I'm coming down with something though. A wee bit blocked to my nose. Lovely drum though. It's a lovely drum. Is anybody going to the Somerton Festival in May? I would love to go to that, but unfortunately, the timing for me, it's literally Campbeltown is 2 days after my wife's birthday, and Somerton I think is the Saturday, isn't it? Of that, my wife's birthday's a Friday, and the Scottish Football League ends on that Saturday as well. And if you support one of the 3 teams at the top, it's going to be a really tight period of time. And am I going to Glasgow again? Glasgow Festival? Yes, I have booked the Airbnb for me and my mates, and then it'll just be a case of hopefully getting the tickets. But we've booked it. We're in. They had such a wonderful time last year. I was so happy. I knew they would, but it's always lovely to hear when you take someone somewhere and they're like, they just had the greatest time. They couldn't believe how amazing everybody was at the festival, how amazing people were in the Bon Accord, how amazing people were at the blind tasting, just so friendly, open, and I was like, this is why we do it. Tempted for Glen Scotia Festival, but hotel prices just skyrocket. Yeah, it's really, Campbeltown is about getting in really early on knowing people and finding accommodation. The accommodation I'm in this year was my whisky group sorted last May, and then I came on, so it was like mad. Port Ellen is operational. It reopened 2024. Yeah, I think they're doing something. Is this the first year at Feis Ile they're actually doing like something at the distillery? I'd imagine so. I'm not interested. Yeah, so it is. Anybody else going on the Saturday to the Campbeltown Festival? Who else is in? Morning, Phil. Good morning. I'm catching up with the chat. The longer the night goes on, the more folk for the other side for the future join us. Just working that out myself. Conrad Blackfen, where have I missed that? Hi Blackfen, how you doing? My list round is actually Canadian corn whiskey. I know the bottle you're talking about. The dude, good Dr. Whiskey, his confession he plays a part in, I believe. Great bottle, always like a good deal. I think it's 30 odd quid you can pick that up for. And Phil, yeah, what's your confession? Great, straight to the punch. Let them know. Sometimes choose chocolate milk instead of whiskey. Love chocolate, hate hot chocolate. Can't Springer, right? Weller. Yeah, that Benrinnes like white people, nice stuff. I'm so behind on this chat. The Weller's calling my name, Desi. That Weller's very good. Right, I think we're going to have to do that. Phil, to get you up to speed, there's been camera disasters. The camera might cut out. We've got another camera that shouldn't be here. Should be the dram cam, but instead is here and backup. Normally we would have it over pointing to these. But, nightmare. I need to get the Dalry milk. Yeah, I missed out on that, and I missed out on the release again this year as well. It's too slow. And what's my team? I'm just going to point to my background on that Whiskey Molly and try and you might be able to see that there's a certain colour not there, as opposed to me saying Lowlander will probably just pipe up and say anyway, but because he gives me enough a hard time usually in the weekend with it. The Walt Whiskey thing for £8 a ticket is incredible. We've paid it and booked the Glengyle warehouse tasting, but are loose about the rest of the day. Port Ellen was fully closed to non-£300 tasting. I think I remember, Kel, you saying that before. You were going there. I really enjoyed it last year, but need to have a bottle. And then apparently it's the same whiskey from last year's release. Yeah. Right. I'm trying to think. What I will do is I am going to crack open a bottle, and for the newbies that have joined the stream late, we do one last run through of the confessions. But we'll do it in a different order. We'll start with number.
Welcome to Kanpai Planet. I'm Mac, and today I have a confession to make. You see, I run a Japan Drinks YouTube channel. I've lived in Tokyo for 20 years, surrounded by some of the world's most revered whiskey. But what do I do when I get home and I need to relax? I pour myself some scotch. Almost always scotch. You see, Japanese whiskey can sometimes feel like work to me, analysing tasting notes, comparing them to past releases from that company and the competitive landscape, looking at specs and marketing literature. Don't get me wrong, drinking scotch helps me calibrate against the world of whiskey, and it provides far better bang for your buck, almost always. But even I need to clock off sometimes. Until next time, Kanpai.
Hello, my whisky confession is that I once made a whisky ice cream float from a long row 18 and a strawberry snowball soda from the Paisley Drinks Company. I'm currently enjoying a little highball with some Bunnahabhain 25 soda and ice. My next confession is that this is not a Bunnahabhain 25, but it is a Bunnahabhain 12. Cheers!
Hello, Iain for Teeth here, and my whisky confession is I don't actually like drinking whiskey from one of these. While tulip shape or Capita glasses are great for nosing, for drinking they're a bit clunky, and I'd far prefer to be drinking whiskey from a good quality tumbler, particularly one with a thin lip that has kind of a broad entrance to the mouth. Perfect for drinking whiskey. My more sinful confession, however, and you might hate me for this, is that Glencairn 10-year-olds taste great from the freezer. Sacrilege, I know, but you can't knock it till you tried it, and it really, really works. So, yeah. Slanjoa.
My whisky confession is a lack of discipline, specifically a lack of discipline when it comes to samples. I'm very, very disorganised, and because I'm opening so many new bottles and full bottles, it means that samples can often get ignored. And that's not cool, because these samples are a measure of the amazing generosity and that spirit of sharing that we have in the community. I know I need to spend a bit more time just sitting down of an evening and relaxing with samples instead of all these shiny new full bottles. So there's more work to be done on my part. But there you have it. A lack of organisation, a lack of discipline, and a lack of attention to all these amazing samples that I have. Must try harder.
My whisky confession is, although I love scotch, I can bottle scotch and I love scotch. The most whiskey that I actually drink is a soupy Tennessee sour mash with Coca-Cola.
My whisky confession is, if I don't like a drink, I pour it down the sink. That can be a whiskey in a cocktail, that could be a sample that I've bought. If I don't like it, I just get rid of it. Life's too short to be drinking bad drinks. However, if it's a full bottle or a larger bottle, I give it to somebody else. Maybe they'll like it.
Forgive me, father-in-law, for I have sinned. This is my confession. Almost every Sunday in life, my father-in-law comes over for lunch. And before that lunch, we will have a little whiskey together. However, I learned very early on that he likes to add an awful lot of water to that whiskey. So, the bottle set in front of him may be akin to this. However, what's pre-poured in his glass will actually be more akin to this. If we could just keep that under our hats, I would appreciate it very much. Cheers.
Rachel from the Grail Tastings here. Thank you for asking for my whisky confession. I'm excited to listen to other people's whisky confessions too. So my whisky confession is, and this is not a secret confession, you can view this shame online if you wish, is I'm not a huge fan of Springbank, which I'm not ashamed of, to be fair. Different tastes. I find it too funky, and I know a lot of people love it, and that's very valid also. But we tried a little bit of some local barley, and I was finding it, as I recall, particularly funky. So I added a little bit of a craft soda, I think it was a raspberry lemonade off the top of my head, to see if that would improve it in the pursuit of flavour. As our tagline is whiskey geeks, not whiskey snobs. But I believe the gods of flavour did indeed punish me for that decision, because I don't think it made it taste any better. I think it made it taste a lot worse. But nonetheless, I'm glad I tried it. I experimented. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, my name is Sam, and I've been asked to contribute a Whisky Sin. I've got many, but I think one that maybe for this occasion makes sense is to embrace the fact that I don't mind, and in fact like drinking whiskeys that are full of E150. Spirit caramel rounds out edges and makes a nicer drink. Maybe not nicer to nose and taste, but certainly I accept it, and I don't turn my nose up at it. So, is that a sin? I guess it is.
My whiskey confession is, please forgive me, I like Dalmore. I know most releases are chill filtered. I know they're often low ABV, and not to mention the sinful amount of artificial colour flooded in each bottle. It just has such a soft spot in my heart. I can hear it calling me. Hello. How are you? Quite well. Thank you very much.
Hello.
The chat's been popping off. That was the recap of all 10 confessions from the wider public, the whisky world, and my confession being unopened bottles. So I have here, and I can pop to that camera. I'm going to get close. We've got the Weller 12, the Weller Antique 107, Hedonism Wines, Barrel Select. We're going to crack that open. Get that involved, and then my comment of the night is Whisky with Molly revealing that they work for the green team. Can I send that $5 back? How about I give it to my brother, and he can spend it, put it back into your pocket, so to speak. We don't want that if I clean glass there. And I've got a wee Tom and Tool glass. Oh, it's a lovely pour sound, isn't it? Put that back on. Well, a 107 for anybody to know, 53.5%, 107 proof, hence the Antique 107. Big step change from the Benrinnes. Bourbon, full of the caramels, full of that. Vanilla. I always use the term cherry cola bottles. I don't even think they exist, but lovely. John from Chingford. Blue Team Unsure. Indie Massive Last Strand tonight on the Milk Talk Irish Cream. Brilliant. That's a sin. Irish Cream. Don't Broder also charge about 100. I'm intrigued to know what's happening way up there, because with Klein Leash closing down, is that going to go the same way, or that going to stay open? And then the Glencairn rebrand. People are not fond of that rebrand at all, are they? It's no bad. It's no Loch Castle, but there's cereals to it. It's like the only way I can describe it is like Cheerios, like a multi-grainy Cheerio. How weird. Lovely. That's only going to get better in glass. A wee bit perfumey as well on the palate. Interesting. Did not expect that at all. Guys, I saw this as well from James. Will they be doing a quiz tonight? No, there's no quiz tonight. I tried to put one together. I mean, I kept second guessing myself, because the standard of quiz that Roy and Menno and all those guys do, nah. I did win the last time, courtesy of Menno. It was really difficult, but there was no time for that tonight, and I thought, we'll call it a day at midnight. So we've got another 15 or so minutes left. So I hope you'll forgive me for that. 2 confessions too. Weller, Bosch, exactly. Yes, we prefer the red and yellow team, presuming of the Partick variety. Amy, thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure to have you. Did you try the Bardstown Origin bottled in bond? Did I? I'm not sure, James. I think I might have. I'll need to look at a picture to confirm. If I look at a picture of it, I'll know. I'll have to get something to repeat everyone else says. Cheers, Dave. Thank you so much for joining, Jim, and thank you for your confession. Really appreciate it. You're saying the benefit to the Glencadam rebrand is a shorter bottle. Yes, it is indeed. And then I'm just saying that's me up to speed. Everybody saying goodnight. Jeffrey Bangers, just seen you in. Welcome, mate. Hope you're keeping well. So for the last 15 minutes, yes, Whisky Sins. If you've got anything left to confess, now is the time for absolution from your Whisky Sins. What is everyone drinking? If you're having a dram, this will be the last one for me of the evening, finishing on a different note, on a bourbon. But to be fair, what's that? 1, 2, 3, and fling in the bottle of the night, which is of course the Loch Castle. Castle. But massive thanks to everybody for joining this evening, with Roy being away and asking very graciously if I could host. It's always a pleasure, especially for the guys that come over from the VPub to join in the shenanigans of a guest host. Everybody that does it, we try our best. He's very good at it, so it is a big step up. But it's been great fun, great chat. Everybody's having a lovely time. Everybody's been really kind. I'm just trying to catch up. Gene Kelly saying thanks for making this Thursday evening a memorable one. Try my best, mate. You've had everything. You've had crotch cam and everything this evening. I'm off. Wrong team, but whiskey's a hands across the divide moment. Look forward to sharing a dram with you in person someday soon. Absolutely, sir. Hopefully it'll be hopefully one where I'm smiling and you're not smiling so much. But if it makes you feel any better, I have a bet every year with a friend of mine down here who is of your persuasion, and it's been a bottle a year, and it's cost me a lot of bottles. And I still owe him from last year, so it might be 2 bottles or it might be Whyte. I need to get that bottle over. But absolutely. Sorry, apologies. I should have signposted at the start that there'd be no quiz. Days on Deanston Red Wine 2012. I've had red wine from Deanston. I think I actually filled a bottle or a wee sample one when I visited Deanston. I can't quite remember. So good, they named Lochs and Castles after it. That's the next t-shirt, isn't it? I should just make a Loch Castle. Maybe I could do a private. Do you think I could do like my own bottling of Loch Castle? Heaven forbid. Aquavite Smogan. Yeah, is it Smogan? Smogan? I really know how to pronounce that as well. Adrian, appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, everybody, thank you. I've seen a lot of people, like David, a lot of people calling it a day. Is that because I said no quiz? And get the horses fixed. Honestly, everything that could go wrong this evening felt like it was, but we made it through. And yes, to Rob's point, give everybody a 10. Yes, 10 out of 10, guys. Maybe that'll be a quiz question in the future. Loch Castle. Peter saying, thanks for organising a great stream and thanks to Tobias. We get ourselves a name with the lodgers from now on. Calling it a day and hit the sack. See you next time. As always, Frank, thank you always for your support. Guys, well, really, all that's left to do from my point of view is some housekeeping. Thank you for tuning in. If you've not, please, by all means, subscribe. I have my own way of doing whiskey stuff. There's no reviews, but there is For Me or No For Me, where I talk about whiskies that I enjoy or don't enjoy and why I enjoy them or don't enjoy them. I have Drams on the Run, where there are 2 episodes in the edit bay at the moment, one for Glasgow, one for Dublin, where I hit the road, I'm out and about, and see what the whiskey world is offering where I am. We have that going on. We normally have Saturday Night Drams every fortnight. Tonight is a stand-in for that this weekend, so there won't be one this weekend, but there should be one in 2 weekends' time. That's really it. If you want to support in any way, there is the Patreon, where the guys really do make such a difference to what I'm making and how I do it. And that's kind of it. I'm on Instagram at Drinks Whiskey, where I update that quite more frequently than YouTube, to be honest, because it's quite easy. And all that's left to say is thank you so much for joining me this evening. Thank you, Roy, for letting me host a VPub on a Thursday night. It's always a pleasure. And thank you to the 10 contributors of Confessions. And I think we made it somehow, despite all the tech difficulties and everything. All the best, guys. Cheers.